Hello there, Kanokarab here, and welcome back to another Dev Diary video for New in Town. We'll be going over some changes that have been made to the what was talked about in the last Dev Diary with what's coming up with the next major New in Town update, the Land Rover update. Name still a work in progress for sure. Some other stuff that I've been working on with the Land Rover update since then. And then we're also going to take a look this episode at some of the results for the sort of popularity questionnaire thing that I've been doing. I am going to keep that questionnaire open and in the description of videos moving forward on the Planet Minecraft link or on the project page, so you can continue to have your responses heard, your thoughts heard. With that, even after this video, and if there are a significant number more in the future, then maybe we'll go over it again. But either way, I'm going to use that as a major way to get feedback from you guys. So if this is the first time you're hearing about this, if you don't know what I'm talking about, please go ahead and don't feel like this is the end of this questionnaire, this ability for you guys to give direct feedback like this. Go ahead and take the link down in the description below to fill out, answer some questions about your experiences with New in Town and where you'd like it to go in the future. We'll go more into detail in that when we get there, but we'll go ahead and start with what has changed with what was talked about last Dev Diary episode. So let's go ahead and make a railway station here. We'll use the advancements for now, since we know, of course, the recipes do work. Which is the main reason why I did them by hand first in the last episode. We'll go ahead and clear that away. So, of course, the railway station is largely unchanged. I have changed the design of the rails, so that is updated in the actual rail structures as well as here in the railway station. But beyond that, it is largely the same as before. You've got your main switchboard here to decide which track you want to go to, and you've got your rail planners to continue out. Let's go ahead and have our first rail right here. The straight rail has been changed slightly. It costs the same, but it is now longer. It is 30 blocks long instead of rail straight. There we go. 30 blocks long instead of 15. So it counts as effectively like a two-plot structure, unlike like the barn, for example, or the railway station itself. So hopefully that helps offset the cost a little bit of it and makes it feel like you really can travel quite a great distance at a reasonable price. So we'll go ahead and continue out maybe over this river here, and I'll show you what else is going on with what's changed lately. Okay, so we're over here. Obviously it is still the same kind of hovering system right here, so if you wanted to do some terraform and make it look more like a proper bridge, that would be up to you. The New in Town has done basically its part. You'll notice as well that because of being 30 blocks long, it does line up better when you're going from straight rail to straight rail. It does get, affected slightly when we get to other connections, but for the most part it looks pretty chill like this. So let's go ahead and take a look at what else changed. So, or what has been added now. I'm going to grab some stone and logs and redstone, as well as, of course, there we go, iron ingots. So the straight rail recipe is like so. You've got your 8 logs up top, 8 stone down at the bottom, your 8 redstone, and the 6 iron ingots along the sides, kind of like making a rail. Or making, minecart rails in the crafting bench. To make now, I've gone ahead and added some turning rails. So those recipes are very easy to remember. If you want to turn to the right, then you simply need to have it basically so it's diagonal to the right. So you've got your stone in the bottom, as though you would turn the whole recipe clockwise a bit to the right. So you've got your 3 iron, of course, on the sides of each, and then your oak logs at the top. It's just in the top right to designate that you are going forward and to the right. So if we go ahead and build that, connects perfectly, only puts your next rail planner at the end there, and of course not over there, unlike a turntable. And of course the new rail design follows along with that. If we go ahead and make a turntable, of course, that connects a bit funky due to the space there. not really a whole lot that can be done about that. It's going to be different depending on where along the tracks you've decided to build. So like if we went straight from a straight rail to that, then it would line up a little bit differently. And now if we go from a turntable to a straight rail, we're going to get a gap like that again. Honestly, I think it's pretty negligible, especially now that it's not happening quite so often if you are just going in a straight line. Hey there! If you're enjoying this video, please remember to leave a like and share with your friends, and to subscribe to keep an eye on when new videos come out. If you want to get involved with the community, you can join our Discord server, where you can also learn how to get involved with the New in Town Dimensions beta release for 1.17, or you can follow me on Twitter. With all that, thank you so much for watching, and back to the show. So we've got our turntable here. We can go ahead and build another straight rail right here, and we can turn similarly to the left, so that works in the exact same way. We go ahead and put our oak logs right up there, and our stone right there. 3 iron, get rid of that guy, oh, and that guy, there we go. And then our 8 redstone right there, and that turns us to the left. And that works, of course, in any orientation. So if we wanted to also turn left from right here, then we could, and it would go that way. In fact, we'll go ahead and just do the recipe for that to demonstrate for you. So to the left goes to the left. So it's from whatever direction that rail planner currently faces, not in any kind of designated pre-arrangement. So basically works similar to the new 2-plot size structures and the rails themselves. So moving on, other things that have changed. Now, as I discussed last episode, you've got your railway that you can build from the rails, but now I've actually correctly implemented when you do so, you get a town planner here as well. And like I said, he does not have the castle permits trade, but he will give you more settlement site recipe books should you need them. And you can continue to build new settlements, or as I like to call them, colonies, out from the site planners that are right here. When you do so, because the town planner is here, we might be a little too close, I'm not entirely sure. We can probably go ahead and test. If we go ahead and build a mine right here, and then recipes, let's do there we go, a mine, and a resource silo. Let's just do one right here. Build a silo. And then if we come back over this way and we build a lumber mill and a silo, then we should, in fact, we can just check very easily. We might still be too close. It is, of course, to encourage you going out further. Nope, looks like those entities are still there. So we can go ahead and do a lumber mill. Oops. And a silo right here. So we were too far away over there for nether attacks to occur, but now that we've come back closer, they have correctly added up, and now I believe we got 2 nether attacks, it sounded like, all together. Regardless, we can go ahead and turn the daylight cycle back on. Game rule, today, true, and set the time to 5900. In just a moment, we should get our daily resource drops, and then we can check and see that we have 24 lumber here and no stone. Looks to be the case. And probably over here, those chunks may not be loaded. We'll have to see, or may not have been loaded. So we'll have to see how that worked out. Come on over here, and we should have... Oh, they were loaded. Fantastic. So we have 24 stone there, and no lumber. So no sharing of resources, but we still get to double up. So if, for example, we had a lumber mill here as well, and a mine here as well, then we get 24 and 24, allowing us to double up our resource silos instead of just doubling up our mines. So that is the main draw that you would have for building colonies like this way out, connected by rails. Oh, it is apparently, let's do day false again, and set the time to 5,000. And also turn off weather. What do weather false and weather clear. There we go. All right, continuing on. So that is the main draw that you would have for building outposts like this, or colonies like this. The other reason is for outposts. I haven't added them yet, but I am looking into the possibility of a regional outpost structure. Would probably be a single site structure. and it would change what it gives you on a daily basis based on the biome that it is in. So if we had, for example, extended this a little bit further and made this colony in the desert, made a regional outpost at that location, then it would give us daily resource drops, but they would be different drops than what we got from our savanna main settlement back there. So another good reason to expand outwards, to land rove, to be a land rover and set up these colonies far and away by rail. So that's what I'm looking into. Like I said, haven't established that yet. Let me see. I don't believe there's anything else significant that's changed with this stuff. There's a few additions that I'll get to in a moment, but I think at this point in the video, we're going to go ahead and cut to going over the results of the quiz. So I will be right back. Bear with me, and we will take a look at what the questionnaire results are looking like. Okay, here we are at the quiz here. Oh, I'm not sure if you can see my little timer down here, but we're just going to ignore that, pretend you can't. We are here at the popularity questionnaire that I set up, and as you can see right up here and right up here, we have 45 responses to this. So I'm really grateful for the responses that we got. Obviously, New in Town has 18,000 downloads, but not everybody's going to see this. Some people have downloaded it once and then haven't re-downloaded any of the new updates. Some people have just downloaded the new updates, but don't really look any further than that. With that said, 45 is a great demographic, I feel like, or a great slice of the demographic to take a look at. So let's go through some of these statistics here. There are some written response questions that we'll look at down at the bottom. We won't necessarily speak to all of them, but I'll try to go over a lot of the common ones in the best detail. So let's take a look here. The first question was just, how did you find New in Town? This is mostly just to kind of gauge where the popularity is. And I was very actually surprised to find that looking specifically through Planet Minecraft for a new and interesting data pack takes up the largest chunk. It is the minority majority with a 44.4%. I was expecting it to be just browsing Planet Minecraft for updated data packs because, bumping by updating your pack is a very good way to get new attention, new downloads, but only about 20% of people that answered this quiz downloaded in that way. Now, it's possible most of the people that do download because it's been updated just didn't see the quiz, haven't downloaded again, haven't checked back and seen the link, don't watch the videos, etc. So that would be a potential reason why this slice is so much smaller than I expected. But I was very pleasantly surprised to see that people do look through Planet Minecraft specifically for new stuff that fits their playstyle, and New in Town met that, so I appreciate that. I had a few other preset ones. Kanokrob's YouTube channel I just had there because I figured there'd be a couple, and there were just 3, not too many. I didn't have very many subscribers to begin with, so I didn't expect people to find me and then find New in Town. I expect probably most people to find New in Town and then find me. At 11.1% is through a different YouTube channel. We have 5 people come to us through a different YouTube channel, perhaps Beastylia14 or Lars LP, Skunk Monkey, Waddles mentioned us a little while back. So a couple people that answered this questionnaire might have come through there. And then I also did Twitter. I think we only have one person that maybe no people that answered Twitter. Yep, looks like it. Which also isn't terribly surprising. I don't have very many followers, and those that do, most of them are not Minecraft players. And then I left it open to for people to put in other responses, as I did for most of these. So MCC is the Minecraft Commands Discord. I've done a few posts in there just when New in Town got updated, so one person comes from there. The MC Minecraft Data Packs Discord server, one person came in from there. In fact, I believe I know who that is. Thank you so much, Hashes. Through Incendium, not terribly surprising. I've worked closely-ish with Starmute, not on Incendium, obviously. He handles that very, very well with his team of volunteers. And there's very little that I could do to help. He showed me quite a bit of tips and tricks when I was starting out World Gen and developing New in Town Dimensions. So I've spoken with him a lot in the Incendium Discord, so I've talked about New in Town a bit there. We also have the Reddit post. I made this quiz before I made the Reddit post, so I didn't have that as a preset. I suspect if I did, probably there'd be a few more answers like this, or a few more in this category. We got a huge boost from that very popular Reddit post. In fact, we have a second person here who, same place, obviously just wrote a different answer, so it got categorized differently. Buddy introduced it to me. Is kind of nice to see, you know, getting a little bit of word of mouth, so I was happy about that. Friend showed me, same thing, and then shared discords with Kano, probably just MCC or the MC Data Packs Discord. Let's move on to what is your favorite part of New in Town? This question I mostly gauged to figure out kind of where I should focus most of the effort on, to a certain extent, for future updates going forward, for polishing, things like that. Obviously, I consider all of New in Town to be important, all of it to be special, and I plan to keep it all updated and interesting as much as it can be until it is so, quote-unquote perfected. I kind of plan to keep New in Town updated and updating for quite a long time. But the presets were the modular settlement construction, which takes up the vast majority, in fact, the super majority of 73.3%, which is not terribly surprising. It's definitely what New in Town is, has the most developed and advertises the most and the best. Following the stories, my personal favorite. I'm not surprised that it isn't enormous, but I'm happy that it is the second largest at 13.3%. Frequent updates I had here as a preset. I'm a little bit surprised that that wasn't an answer for at least a couple people, but I suppose that makes sense. If everything is already very much in line with what people like and enjoy, then having more updates is kind of just the icing. The dimensions pre-release got a little bit. Obviously, I wasn't terribly surprised that it wasn't the most popular. And then, of course, we have some presets. One person saying the settlement part was what drew them in, but the frequent updates has made them stay, which that's very cool. All of it, very fair. And then the custom structure packs I didn't even think of to put as a preset. So obviously, New in Town supports custom structure packs. It has the templates included. So it was nice to see that is very much appreciated by the community. Moving on, this is, again, more trying to gauge where I should put my effort to some extent. Do you watch my New in Town Let's Play series? We have a small group that just say yes. It's pretty fairly split, not evenly, obviously. I'm not terribly surprised that this category is the largest, with the minority majority of 40%. 18 people say they have watched some, but don't keep up with it. 31% say no. And then a little bit smaller but decent sizable chunk say yes, they do. I am not terribly surprised by this. It's of course hard to get into a long form Let's Play series like this, so I plan to do some more shorter things or easier things to keep up with, like this dev diary, like live streams, and just kind of individual videos about New in Town going forward that aren't necessarily part of a series. So it's easier for people to get drawn in, get interested in, and see what New in Town is all about. Are you a member of the New in Town Discords? I'm very surprised that there are so few no's to this. I suppose it makes sense. The Discord is where people will probably see this the most often. And it's down in the description of videos, but if you don't check there, if you don't look there, you're not going to find it. It's also a link on the Planet Minecraft project page, but if you're just downloading it, you're probably not really going to answer. So most people, the majority, are in the Discord and do have a role. We do have 40% that are in the Discord and don't yet have a role. If you don't, it's very easy. Just go ahead and leave a diamond and favorite the New in Town project, and I'll give you the role. I'll give you the first settlers role, and then from there it's just, participation. Because that's all it really is. There's nothing special about having a role. It's just a way to encourage people to get involved with New in Town and be kind of a part of the community. We will get to these written responses in a second. I do want to come down here briefly and take a look at this category down here. This was a multiple choice. You could choose multiple answers. Which of the following would you like to see? Not terribly surprising. Leading up the charge is a big group of YouTubers playing New in Town as an SMP series. That's something that I would very much like to do, but of course it relies on having a good chunk, a good group of YouTubers that are interested and want to, more than just members from the community. My hope is to do something somewhat on the scale of a Dream SMP Hermitcraft type situation. Not quite the same. Obviously, New in Town warrants its own sort of genre to some extent, but that is something that I want to do. But definitely, I think I need to get bigger first before it becomes really a possibility. Next up was an official New in Town server. This is very reasonable. I've spoken about it before. It's definitely something, again, that I really want to do, but New in Town needs to become a little bit more sustainable before that can really happen with any degree of reliability. New in Town is, of course, a data pack, which means it is performance heavy. We discussed that in the last dev diary, and that means that the server needs to be pretty decent. So I'd very much like to wait until I have a little bit more of a following on Patreon, a little bit more of a donation stream there, most of which would then be poured directly into maintaining a New in Town server. And then from there, hopefully we would get more donations to improve the channel, improve the pack, maybe allow me to focus on this in YouTube full time. That would be amazing. Next up in line is a bigger YouTuber playing New in Town. Obviously, I'm not surprised that that is right up there with the big group of YouTubers playing New in Town. It's definitely something that I'd like to happen too. Unfortunately, a lot of it is out of my control. I've reached out to a lot of large YouTubers, some of which have gotten back to me, some of which have done small videos, some of which have said, it's definitely something I'm really interested in, but isn't something I'm able to do right now. Can't really fit it in my schedule, which is totally understandable, totally reasonable. And then a lot of people that just, haven't responded, which again, quite understandable and reasonable given that, as I'm sure the life of a big full-time YouTuber is quite busy, and you've got, a full schedule, you have your expectations from your audience, you know what your audience likes, you have the statistics, so, New in Town is not going to be for everybody. My goal is just to make it for everybody that wants it to be, to some extent. And then these I just put here, or this last one I did just put here to see if there would be interest. There isn't very much, so I'm not going to pursue it much further. But I wanted to see if there was any interest in any kind of official New in Town merchandise, like shirts and mugs. And that may be something that comes down the line as New in Town does get bigger. But it looks like right now there isn't really a whole lot of interest in that. So I'm not going to worry about it too much. I'm not really sure what this is, Hololive New in Town. Honestly, I forgot to look it up before I started this video. I suppose I'll look into it, but only one person wrote it in, so to speak. So I'm not really sure what that is or if it's going to happen, so I can't speak much to it. So let's move on to the written responses. I'll do this one first. So this question was, what do you think Kanokrab, myself, could or should do to help New in Town reach even more people? And I've already started doing some of these before I started making this video. And I'm going to continue keeping an eye on this and looking at it well after this video comes out. I am, like I said, going to leave this open, so please feel free to make your voice heard through this questionnaire in the link down below. Polish, obviously, always going to be updating and trying to improve performance, improve the mechanics, and make it as fun and enjoyable for as many people as are interested. Live stream playing it, definitely something I want to be doing it, finding a bigger YouTuber, we've talked about. Keeping updated, doing what you're doing. So I think, obviously, this one is just kind of, you're doing great. Just wait. Obviously, yeah, there's not like a whole lot more that one can do to advertise to some extent. Try and get someone bigger. Doing a great job. Posting in a lot of places. I've done that with Reddit. I think there's another one down here that said the same thing. Try Reddit. Definitely does really good. And asking other YouTube channels to try it out or review it. Gotten some responses, gotten some support there, but it's going to be an uphill battle for sure for a good while. Let's see what else sticks out. TikTok. I got a couple of people saying I should do things on TikTok. I've been hearing it a lot. Obviously, I know what TikTok is. I'm not an old man, but I'm a little bit kind of not sure, a bit untrustworthy of the TikTok app itself. Not really sure what to believe on that front, whether it's really safe to use. I already have, Reddit and Tumblr and all these other, Facebook, Twitter. And as far as I can tell, especially for things like TikTok, like YouTube, like Twitter, it's really hard to get big, but once you get there, then you're good. And I feel like TikTok is much the same way. It's not so much a Reddit. It's closer to like a YouTube, but I'm not really sure. If I don't really know what's popular on TikTok. Obviously, I don't have one, so I'm not really sure if that's something I want to pursue. Maybe if I can get some more ideas, if I do some more research and see what that system kind of looks like, or what that popularity mechanic looks like, how I can game the system, kind of like how I did with Reddit, and make something that is gonna be popular there. Then that might be something that we look into. But obviously the Reddit post did very, very well. We got 8.3K upvotes and just an influx of people coming in to download, coming into the Discord, coming to YouTube. So thank you to everyone that came from Reddit, and I hope you'll stick around. But clearly there are some avenues that are more profitable, so to speak, than others. And I don't know if TikTok is one or the other. Let's see, a lot of unsures, which is totally understandable. Cross-compatibility features is something I'd thought about, but I worry about bloating it too much or making it feel like you can't get the full experience without those other data packs. I've wanted to do like a collab with hashes and do, some new in town structures that use under magic mechanics or blocks and items and stuff. And I think that'd be really, really cool and really popular. But I worry that if people go to New in Town and see, if you have Under Magic too, then you get to experience this also, and then they go look at Under Magic and that doesn't fit them so much, then they aren't going to get New in Town because they feel like they can't get the full experience without Under Magic, which I would understand. So maybe something that I might do with custom structure packs. Maybe if I do some in the future that are separate from New in Town, but use the New in Town framework obviously and are designed to be played with other data packs too. That might be the way to go now that custom structure packs are so supported. Another one for TikTok, advertise. That's what I'm asking how to do to a certain extent. More sponsors. I don't have any sponsors right now. That would be amazing if I did. Yep. Reach out to other YouTubers. More kinds of challenges other than making a Let's Play series. So that's kind of what I was talking about, doing more kind of one-off videos that can kind of be a jumping on point. So I do plan to do things like that going forward. Other YouTubers. This one I really want to speak to for a second. I really don't get. New in Town is complete. It is done. It is finished. It is fully released. It has all the content that I want it to have, just like Minecraft is. And just like Minecraft, it is going to continue to see updates as long as there's a community that's interested in it. So it is in a 1.0 sort of state. In fact, it's in a 2.0 sort of state. In fact, it's in a 2.4 sort of state. So I don't quite understand how I can be a little more clear on that. If it's unclear, please let me know. If it feels like New in Town isn't complete, let me know what I can do to help drive that home, because it is a complete data pack. It is fully released, fully available, and fully playable, fully enjoyable. And I hope that comes through. Bigger people doing an SMP, obviously. Cooperate with others. And then frequent dev blogs on Twitter. See, I've done a little bit on Twitter, and I don't know. I don't think it does a lot. It's really hard to get started on Twitter, it seems like. So I don't really know how to do any better than what I'm doing. It seems like doing the dev diaries here on YouTube is much better than on Twitter for sure. So yeah, that is kind of where we have the results on that. So now let's move on to the big question. So what would you like to see in the future of New in Town in terms of content? It can be simple structures, broad suggestion, or a big addition. So we're not going to go through all of these. Some of them are kind of repeats, so I'll stick to those ones for the most part and speak to what is most popularly requested. Some things are big, yep, that's what I'm working on, or this is what we can do moving forward, and some things are probably not, or a big no. So let's take a look. Difficulty increase. I really don't want to... Oh, we're not at the top. There we go. Let's see. So optimization, yep, obviously always being worked on. Different options that change how the story goes. A branching story is definitely not something that I want. That's not what New in Town is about. It would unnecessarily muddle the story, the progression. It potentially would feel like things are locked behind. It contributes to replayability. Sure, I'm always talking about replayability. If you don't like your town, if you don't like where it's placed, if you lose to the tyrant too much and you get frustrated, it's a great opportunity to try again and try starting a new town and try doing things differently. So I'm always about replayability, but replayability because you made a mistake or because you're not having fun with how you arranged your town the first time, not because you aren't able to experience all of the features. And that's being challenged a little bit with excavators. We'll go into that in a future dev diary, but there's still ways around that, and we'll get to that when we get to it. Variants, this is a very popular request. If structures could have variants, then use oak use other logs that aren't oak. Nether and cobble is the first I really heard of that kind of situation. I generally have heard the different wood types for sure. And this would be really cool. I will give you that. My vision was that this niche, this request, would be fulfilled by custom structure packs, because having different buildings for all the different wood types, for a nether type for all the overworld structures, a cobble type, whatever that would look like, that would unnecessarily bloat the file size so much. We're already kind of challenging that with all the new structures and functions that we're adding with this next update, and then with dimensions it's going to be even bigger. So it's something that's always been requested, and it's something that custom structure packs ought to fill. And right now it's not my priority to do that. So if that's something that you want to see, I encourage you to make a custom structure pack, share it with people, so you can have, make a spruce village, make spruce recipes that build spruce structures that are functionally identical to New in Town's oak ones, but you can build them if you are in a spruce location. In fact, that's actually something that I'll talk about in a little bit when we're back in the game. Peaceful mode kind of goes back to the different options, branching a story, different difficulties, something that'll come up a lot lower down. I don't want people to feel like they have to experience New in Town differently. Or if they do, I want them to feel encouraged and allowed to cheat or change the difficulty on their own. There are hostile mobs in New in Town. I'm sorry. It's always going to be that way, and there's not going to be a way to do it without it. If you want to play New in Town fully, you're going to have to fight a Ghast and a Wither. Now, if you want to cheat and give yourself fully enchanted netherite armor to do that, if you want to change into creative mode and just smack it so it's out of your way, you have all the power to do that. I'm not going to judge you for it. I'm going to encourage it because I want you to have a good time with as much of New in Town as you want to enjoy. But I'm not going to go out of my way to make that easier for you by changing how the fabric of what New in Town is. So I'm not going to add a peaceful mode. And I'm not going to change the difficulty either. You can weaken yourself if you like, with commands and stuff. Post-end items found or used in other dimensions. I feel like that kind of defeats the purpose of Refugee, to be honest, so probably not. I'm exploring more unique loot in the form of like the what the 5 Nether Elders give you in the Nether Keep, so it's not out of the question. But the things that are found in the end or found after the end to bring back to the other dimensions to fully complete them, it's not really something I want to do, I think. Having to build more buildings before fighting the Tyrant, 9 seems too few. Kind of back to the difficulty thing, 9 I feel like is fairly perfect. By the time you're building 9 structures, you should have a pretty good infrastructure, unless you're building a bunch of farm plots that are all very cheap and inexpensive. But then you should be understanding, you've got the escalating difficulty of the scouts and then the Tyrants, or then the Ghast, sorry. And the warning that if you build the Wither, the Tyrant is getting restless. He's gonna arrive soon. So you have all the warning, and by the time that you've built 9 structures, you should have a pretty solid infrastructure. Maybe you don't have full diamond gear. Maybe you don't have a wizard tower to be able to enchant your stuff yet. Those aren't requirements for a reason, because you should be able to build the town however you like. But you do have that hard limit of 9. You should, by the time you build your 9th structure, have a solid enough infrastructure that you can, by the time you get to 8, if you're not ready to fight the Tyrant, you should have enough of an infrastructure that you can go out and find the materials that you need to feel ready. Many more structures to build. Yep, ones that have multiple spaces. That's what we're working on. Fantastic. Choosing a path that lets you build your own Illager mansion. An Illager mansion is not something that I want to have as a buildable structure. There's obviously more paths that are coming. That's what Dimensions is. It allows you to do some kind of branching and not have to choose which one you want to do, but choose which one you want to do first to a certain extent. So you can build your seafarer fleet and then go into your excavators, your excavation in the Primordial Desert, or you can do them in the reverse. The only thing that's really going to have a hard limit on story terms is within each individual, arrangement, conglomeration, the story that it follows, and then the final boss of the Dimension Saga. You're going to have to fight the 2 bosses in Buried Ocean and the Primordial Desert first before you can fight him in the Tempest. Beyond that, that is kind of where we're going. So in the Tempest, you're not building an Illager mansion, you're building a steampunk tower, and hopefully that'll be still exciting for you guys. But an Illager mansion, it doesn't really fit with New in Town. Stairs for height changes, like I think I've mentioned last episode, it's something that I'm thinking about, maybe working on. I'm not quite sure. I don't want to have to rewrite a ton of code right now. Maybe down the line, but I don't think now is the time. So if I am able to do it without doing so, then we'll look into it. But otherwise, please don't, hold your breath too much, and please don't blame me for it not coming, because I think New in Town has gone along just fine without it for almost a year now, getting close. 1 year birthday. Okay, more complicated layouts. So the excavation site in the Perennial Desert, I think, is going to be really cool and complicated. The fleet in the Buried Ocean, that has diagonal attachments, so that's pretty cool. Allows you to plan out in interesting ways. And then the Steampunk Tower is going to be a tower similar to the End City. So hopefully that is kind of where you were going. Upgrades to previous buildings. I've spoken about upgrades before in the Discord. It's not something that I want to do, and there's a couple of reasons why. For one, I think having a block, even just a single block, a mechanic to allow for upgrading in the buildings that can upgrade, would unnecessarily clutter them in an aesthetic sense. It would be distracting and take away from my ability to build nice looking structures that are functional, but because New in Town makes them so, not because there are blocks there that make them functional. Additionally, I think it would confuse players too much. We still get questions all the time, people who aren't able to build a castle because they are putting their castle wing recipes in site planners, not in castle planners, and don't build all their castle frames before they start building. So that's not a dig on the community, on players, but I think adding more insult to injury, so to speak, to that, adding more things that upgrade from existing sites rather than from just straight out from site planners, starts getting into some tricky water. Also, more story for the Tyrant. I want a lot of story to be inferred. There is a canon lore, and there's a channel in the Discord to talk about it and ask questions about it. I just posted what the Tyrant's backstory is in there, and there is more lore. We'll actually talk about it when you get back into the game. There is more lore coming to New in Town otherwise, but a lot of it is supposed to be inferred. So you're not going to have super clear answers unless you ask me, and then I'll tell you. But in terms of in New in Town, kind of the same way that Minecraft works. I don't want you to be told what the lore is all the time. You should have to infer some things. It'd be cool if the story is more fleshed out, kind of what I'm doing. The lore books, we'll talk about that in a future dev diary. Let's see, multiplayer systems. A couple of people down here have asked for unique multiplayer systems, like having a war and alliance system and things like that, and officially joining towns. None of that is in the spirit of New in Town. None of that is stuff that a data pack can reliably be relied upon for. If you want to go to war with another person's town, just do it, is what I say. You shouldn't have to do a command or press a special block to say, hey, now I'm at war with that particular town. Just do it, I think, personally. Within the rules of the server that you're on, come up with the rules for the server that you're on, if you like, by all means. Variations of build, Steampunk Dimension, that's coming. I think New in Town is beginning to reach the point where it's good as it is, but any additions to it may take away from its unique gameplay style, so big changes should be add-ons, like the Dimensions data pack. This is good feedback. I appreciate this, and like I think I mentioned in the last episode, please let me know if you feel the same way. The Dimensions data pack right now, the plan is to make it part of New in Town, rope it into the main download and have it all be together, to Tyrant Saga and the Dimension Saga, one download, one data pack. If that is something that you don't like, that you would prefer they stay separate as optional, have Dimensions be an optional expansion, please let me know, because if there's enough interest in that, I want to respect that. I definitely want to keep New in Town feeling like New in Town, and if Dimensions feels like New in Town Plus instead of New in Town, then I want to make it downloadable in that way. So please let me know if you feel a similar sentiment to this comment right here. Difficulty increase we talked about. More settlement-based structures, sure. More life in the villages, like wandering villagers. I don't want wandering villagers because I don't want them to wander off. As funny as that sounds, the villagers that are functional, that do specific tasks for New in Town, need to stay where they are so that they can be tracked, so that they can be taxed, and so that they can be relied upon by the player. Quests and bounties, that sounds like something completely outside the scope of New in Town. New structures, difficulties we talked about, more decorative structures, so smaller settlements around the world. Instead of a teleport system, I hope you like rail systems, because that's what we're doing. Something like a prison. I don't really know what a prison would add to New in Town personally. Maybe in like an SMP special version, but I don't think it necessarily needs to be here. Ability to rotate structures before building it. Yeah, we've talked about that before. I love everything in this mod, but the miner, rude. We're gonna skip past that. For the 1 point, geologist, exchange the new block and the ore. For this, I don't really understand what you mean by that part in particular. I am planning on a geologist, but he's going to be in the excavators expansion. In the primordial desert, he'll do some cool stuff with gems. For the size part, I want more size and a city to build in each. I don't really quite follow what that means. And yeah, Minecraft server. It'd be a huge undertaking. Different styles of towns. Yeah, I've talked about that. More customizability. What more could you want? I'm sorry. Oh my goodness, that's a big ask that also is already answered. Anyway, going too far. A lot of buildings and diversity within them, but more vanity buildings would be cool, like big structures or statues. So we're working on big structures, not so much on statues. I don't know that they have a place with New in Town. There's some custom structure packs that have statues. I definitely recommend you check them out. Better multiplayer integration. Having everyone be able to make a settlement almost feels a little weird. But you asked for that. That's what people wanted and asked for. And you don't have to, everyone have to start a settlement. You can work together. I don't know what more you could want for multiplayer integration. You have the choice of working together or working separately. Area for steampunk type build, we're getting there in the future. More naturally generated structures. Okay, so this is an important one that actually got brought up earlier today in the Discord. We don't want to do too many of these because obviously it's New in Town doesn't use world gen. It uses post gen. And post gen normally is a little bit scary. It's a naughty word, so to speak, in the data packing community. But it uses a very careful post gen. It doesn't use actual world gen functions and functionality of Minecraft so that it is compatible with as many packs as possible. If you'd use world gen, you wouldn't be able to use it with William Withers, for example. It also, you wouldn't be able to guarantee that you have one of each special structure for every town, which is very important to me. You should be able to explore everything that New in Town has to offer with every time you play, to some extent. So, we're not using world gen, we're using post gen. We're using post gen that doesn't damage or scan anything in the world so that it's compatible with other post gen, and more importantly, so it's not incompatible with anything else. Just a one-time thing when you start your town. Spread the features around randomly on solid ground, and then build them. It's that easy. It doesn't care where it puts them, it just puts them there. And so going from there, it does that by spreading a bunch of armor stands around, or not armor stands, area effect clouds around in a random location, but in a certain range around your town. And if they're within a certain range, then it tries again. If they're too close to the town, it randomizes their locations again. And if they're still too close, it does it again. And it does this 10 times for both the naturally generating features and for the nether attack locations, which are planned out when you start your town before they actually emerge. So the reason for that is, of course, so that when the nether attacks in particular do emerge, then they don't destroy your town, as long as you haven't expanded out way too far. Where was I going with this? Oh yeah, so there's a certain wide range. There's a maximum distance and there's a minimum distance that they have to be away from your town. And the reason that there's a lag spike when you start your town is because it's doing that. It's going through that loop. And it does it a maximum of 10 times, which is more than enough that it needs. If it reaches that 10 times mark, which it really only happens if you have started your town in a like ocean, in the middle of an ocean or something, where there's no solid ground, then it gives up and it says, you know what, I can't spread the structures. Some of them are going to appear on your wagon. Sorry. And the reason for that is because if it didn't do that, it would just crash your game. What that means is, if you have too many, if I implement too many naturally generating features, then it's going to take more time to try and spread them, and it's going to be more opportunity to have them be too close to your town and therefore have to be spread again. So it's just going to eat up more performance right at the beginning, right when you're getting into Newentown. So I really don't want to add any more because of that. Certainly not to the overworld. I'd like to see structures that are specified in a collection of resources other than standard. More types of wood or bamboo. So that would actually probably be covered by the regional outpost that I'm thinking of working on. So that is coming, I think, probably. And lastly, I'd like to see more big multiple square structures like the castle. Yep, perfect. Not exactly like the castle, but the 2 plot structures I think are gonna really itch that scratch for people. And then more unique bosses, which, yep, we are doing. We've got some cool bosses in the Dimensions update, which I will show you in a future dev video. So we've gone through all of those. We will, hopefully have answered a lot of those very well for you guys. Once again, if you do have any more thoughts or suggestions for the future of Newentown, this questionnaire link will be in the video description, as well as on the Newentown project page, and you can always ask me for it in the Discord. I'm gonna leave it open, and we will revisit it in the future. With that said, let's go ahead and jump back into the game, and I'll show you all the new stuff that I've been working on since the last time we talked. And here we are back in the game. Let's go ahead and go back to our main town, and I'll show you what we've been working on. So, we'll start here in the overworld. Let's take a look at our settlement site recipe book. So you'll notice there's not 29 pages now, there's 30. There's a new structure here. Oh, I guess I should mention, the conductor recipe book also, of course, contains the new recipes for the turning rails. So there's 2 recipes for those, turning to the left and turning to the right. Anyway, back out here. There's a new recipe in the recipe book. So let's go back and take a look. It's all the way back here, second to last page. It is the Grand Cathedral. It's a huge monument to long forgotten names, so to speak. So because there isn't really religion in Minecraft, certainly not in Newentown, there's no gods, and it's not something I want to incorporate. It's just a cathedral to something, whatever you want it to be. And it uses glass blocks, polished diorite, and stone and logs, as well as a question mark, just like all of the other special structures for Newentown. So I'm not going to tell you what that is. I'll give you a bit of a sneak peek here in a little bit, but let's go ahead and just do the advancement, because I do know the recipe works. Grant at S only, Nick K, recipes, recipe, Cathedral. Here we go. We're gonna ignore the scouts and take a look here. So the cathedral looks a bit funny with the shaders. It is mostly a diorite exterior with stone brick for the base. We have some polished diorite on the inside, which we'll take a look at here shortly. And then we've got a nice little entryway with some great big doors. There is, of course, some vines and hedges in the back there. And we've got a very nice looking steeple up to there. Let's go take a look in here. So if we go inside, we've got this bit of foyer entranceway situation going on with these nice big doors. A little bit of a Knights Templar type situation going on with this rug. Then we come on over here into the actual chapel part. We've got some water right here. So if we stand in the water, you'll see we get an absorption effect very briefly every 5 seconds or so, just for about a second. It's mostly for cosmetic. There's not really any reason that you would need absorption while you're standing in water right here, but it is there. The water does do one other thing, which we'll go into in a second. But for now, let's go ahead and come up these stairs here, up into this little rafters area above the foyer, and then up this scaffolding here. And we can come to the bell. So the bell here at the top of the bell tower, if you ring it, it's going to give you the Hero of the Village effect for 1 minute. And it will reset if you do re-ring it. And it will also give you a brief or a little bit of healing, of instant health. Not a whole lot of reason that you would need to use that. Obviously, it's very high up. So the instant health is kind of just there to be there, to be cool, because the structure is so associated with worship and with life. But the Hero of the Village is obviously the main reason that you would do that. So very, very powerful effect. And there's another powerful effect, actually. If we come on over here, let's go ahead and grab a Wither Rose, which is in here somewhere. Where'd it go? There it is. Grab a Wither Rose. And we'll go ahead and toss it into the water. Oh. Oh, come on. I need you to work with me here. Oh, come on. Am I just not getting close enough? Okay, I might have messed something up. The point is, when you toss a Wither Rose into the water here, you are going to get a bad omen. And generally, probably, if you're in an established town, that bad omen is almost certainly going to immediately trigger a raid. So that is the main reason that you would want to build the cathedral, in addition, of course, to the Hero of the Village power. Now, you might be asking, that's really, really powerful, Kanukarab. Like, what could possibly warrant being so powerful? You know, how must be such an expensive structure. It's got to be. What would we have to pay? What we have to sacrifice to be able to build this? Well, I will show you in a brief little teaser. So I will be right back with you here in a minute. All right, so here we are. We've got another fortress over there that I just started here to show you. This is a naturally generating structure. Ooh, don't fall. This is a naturally generating structure in the nether that appears when you build another fortress. And I'll let you just take a look at it and see if you can sort of make out what it is. It's always going to generate at this height. By chance, it's sort of generated in such a way that it looks like it's kind of growing out from this basalt delta. But often it's either going to be floating above the lava oceans or just kind of hanging out embedded in some rock or basalt. And if we come up over here, we have a Wither skeleton right here. He's got a Totem of Undying and a full netherite gear. This is how you get the secret item, the unique artifact that is used to build the cathedral. You have to find and kill this Wither skeleton. I'm not going to show you his name, and I'm not going to show you what item he drops, because I'm gonna save that for you guys. I think it's gonna be really interesting and exciting when you guys do find this structure. Oh, I will tell you its name. I will give you that, I think, because I already spoiled it somewhere. This structure is called the Wither Maw. So we will see how that plays with you guys. You're gonna have to find this structure if you want to build a cathedral and kill this Wither skeleton here. So we'll see how big of a challenge that is. With that, let's go ahead and jump back into the overworld and say goodbye here. It's been a bit of a longer dev diary, just because of going... Oh, it's kind of funny. Just because of going over the quiz, the questionnaire thing. So hopefully that was enjoyable for you guys. There will be more dev diaries coming up as I work on and polish all of these things that I've been working on. The regional outpost, as I said, is upcoming. Oh, and there's one other thing that I did forget. Oh, what was I going to say? I was going to say something. It'll come back to me. We'll talk about it next episode, I suppose. So with that said, thank you guys for watching this dev diary video. If you enjoyed, please remember to leave a like and share this channel or this video with your friends, and subscribe, of course, to keep an eye on when new dev diaries, new Let's Play videos, and other new and town related videos come out. You can also, of course, get involved with the Discord community if you aren't already. Once again, check out that popularity questionnaire down in the description below to get your voice heard. It won't be talked about in the next episode or even the next one after that, but I will be paying attention to it at all times, and when I feel like we've got a large enough grouping of new responses, then we'll revisit it and see where the community stands at that point. Once again, thank you guys again so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.